Remember that video from Chicago where a violent teen takeover last weekend? It's not the first example of youth out of control.
So let's go off the wall at some of the worst examples just over the last few weeks. Will, you referenced it. Let's start in Chicago. It wasn't just one night. It was a weekend. It was coordinated on social media. Young kids, I mean, we call them kids, but these are teenagers taken to the streets not just to gather, but to destroy. I mean, there's examples of a woman's husband was attacked in the vehicle, beaten after the teens jumped on the windshield. A 6-year-old boy was shot. Yeah. This is not just a get-together.
There's an interview. There's terrible video of a couple attempting to enter an apartment building. Black man, white woman. They say they were attacked and beaten for over 10 minutes. We see 20 seconds of it in the viral video. It said the attack went on for 10 minutes. Stole shoes, stole purse, stole the whole, everything they had.
And the teens are filming it joyously as it goes on, saying this is what you get if you try to mess with it.
Yeah.
Because the adults don't seem to be in charge. Example we'll give you is Mayor-elect Brandon Johnson. He talked about these teens and the decisions they make. Watch.
Look, demonizing children is wrong. They're young. Sometimes they make silly decisions. They do. And so we have to make sure that we are investing to make sure that young people know that they are supported.
That is a message that you heard, this lack of accountability. Why is this happening? You know, it seems to be, at least anecdotally and visually, happening more and more in our country. Here's another example where law enforcement said this is about the lack of accountability. How about in Florida, where 3 teens were murdered by 3 other teens? Actually, let me correct myself in one small way. One of the 3 accused is actually just 12 years old. 12 years old.
It's and what we don't know, they haven't fully figured out what the circumstances are. One was found that night, one found the next morning, one found in a trunk. Were they
in a submerged car? In
a submerged car. Were they a part of that ring? But it comes back to something that's happened. I know it happened in my neighborhood in New Jersey. Criminal units, gangs, theft rings use juveniles because there's a catch and release program for them. Yeah. Until you turn 18, you basically have a get out of jail free card, whether you're in the streets of Chicago or stealing cars.
Whether it's organized, as you just referenced, in criminal gangs using young kids, or it's just chaos that we're seeing more and more. Marion County Sheriff Billy Wood says this is a society that's refusing to hold people accountable.
But the fact is, society fails it. We do not hold our juveniles accountable. We minimize their actions. School districts across this state and across this nation need to quit minimizing the actions of their students. Hold them accountable.
I'd love to see a debate between Billy Woods and Brandon Johnson.
Yes. Accountability.
Mayor-elect of Chicago.
When rules exist, they're actually enforced. First of all, in the home, you know that. It starts with parents. If the parents aren't there and teachers and others can't hold kids accountable, then they run the joint. And another example of that is in April in a school bus in Ohio. I think we have it coming up here. There was a school bus driver, her name is Jackie Miller, where the students knew she had allergies, so they were trying to spray perfume on her to put her into an asthma attack. And she finally just said enough is enough.
Yeah, here's what Jackie had to say about this incident.
I got to my first stop and dropped my first group of kids off. That's when he shouted that this student had sprayed perfume, which I'm extremely allergic to. And I stopped the bus and I went back there to see what was going on. And it just escalated from there because this young man had a look on his face, you know, he had a smirk, thinking that all this was really funny, which it isn't. And that's when I snapped.
Okay, I think, Pete, one of the tensions you can have in this conversation is kids have you could say, well, kids have always been bad.
That's true.
But let me show you at least a broader survey of what's happening across this country. Take a look at this. This is America's malls. So now you're talking about across the country, America's malls who've begun to enact curfews because from Mississippi to Georgia up to New Jersey, they're seeing problems of teens.
Yeah, this is a mall in San Francisco. It's a brawls that went on for multiple days, 15th through the 17th. They were pepper spraying other people at the mall. Again, they're filming it right there out in the open. It's not just San Francisco, though, as you said. New Jersey, March 4th, teen boys displaying a gun. It's happening across the country. What malls are having to do in cities that are listed here on the map are enforce either curfews or, more significantly, you must show your ID that you're 18 or older to enter the mall. Otherwise, you have to be supervised, because we can't supervise mobs of teens running through the mall.
What may be new in this is that social media has allowed a level of organization to come to this, to bring mass, as we saw in Chicago, to end where we began, these mass groups of teens together to just bring chaos.
Wreak havoc. They don't think any adults will hold them accountable. They're running the joint, and you suffer the consequences in the process.
Yeah.
I wish there were parents that would just take care of this, but it's not where we're
It
at.
all comes back to the family in the end.
It really does.